Another year, and a new MLB The Show game gets released, again, which is MLB The Show 24. But there's no NBA game that San Diego Studio has developed for Sony to publish. In fact, it's almost been 15 years since San Diego Studio developed an NBA game for Sony to publish. The last NBA game that was made was NBA 10 The Inside, the one with Brandon Roy on the cover back on October 6 in 2009. And to make matters even worse, the last time that a company has developed and published an NBA video game other than Visual Concepts and 2K was EA, when the company released NBA Live 19 back in 2018, and they were set to release NBA Live 20, but it got cancelled back in 2019, and NBA Live 21 was cancelled as well. And ever since the release of NBA Live 19, EA hasn't made an NBA video game since. So the only choice that an NBA fan like myself has is to purchase the one and only NBA video game on the market right now, and that's NBA 2K, which sucks because NBA 2K is not what it was years ago, and the effort that the company used to put in to please and connect with the fans is not there anymore. And the biggest reason for that is a lack of competition, and the lack of competition creates complacency. Now here are some examples. Back in 2012, months before NBA 2K13 was released, 2K's digital marketing director, who we all know as Ronnie 2K, tweeted this: "Use the hashtag to let us know what you'd like to see added to NBA 2K13. We'll be watching." As you can see on the screen, and this is what a lot of fans had to say back then on Twitter, now known as X, about what to add in NBA 2K13. Then months later, closer to the game's release, in June, 2K Sports would announce for fans to uncover the cover or uncover NBA 2K, where the more tweets that NBA 2K13 got at the time, the more clues would be revealed about the cover athletes, as you can see from what Ronnie 2K tweeted at the time. And this is what the fans had to say, as you can see on the screen. And the first 3 tweets is actually me. That's from my old account back then. For the OG NBA 2K fans, we definitely remember all these things if you were playing NBA 2K from back then. And this is what 2K actually did. Before this version of the cover, which was the actual version of NBA 2K13 that came out publicly, 2K would tease this months before, where they put a bird with wings, roses, and a tarantula, and some fans would pick up on what players it actually symbolized. The bird symbolized Blake Griffin, because if you remember, Blake Griffin was a high flyer in his prime, arguably the best dunker in the NBA at the time, and definitely one of the greatest dunkers of all time. And the rose symbolized Derrick Rose, hence his nickname D Rose, and the tarantula symbolized Kevin Durant, because at one point he was nicknamed Durantula because of how tall and long he is and his ability to score, so it's like he has multiple limbs. So do you see how much 2K cared back then about the fans? Look how much passion 2K had and innovation, and never failed to push the boundaries and keep on creating even with the littlest things back then. And then now look, fast forwarding 2 years later, back in 2019, 7 years later from that point in 2012, hashtag fix NBA 2K20 was trending because of how bad things were going with that game, and they had to patch it and improve more stuff. By this time, NBA 2K had fallen off already because there was no competition and a lack of care like years prior about the game and the fans. And look at what most people have to say about NBA 2K year after year. So there you go, 2K is just not the same as it was back then, and that's just something us fans have to admit. I don't know why another company hasn't made a new basketball game yet, because one company doesn't have the exclusive rights to make an NBA video game. Any company can make an NBA video game along with 2K if they want to, but this is where San Diego Studio and Sony come in. If there's a company that can compete and give NBA 2K a run for their money, this would be the company to do it, and you will see why in a few seconds. Let's get deeper into the video. There are some of you out there that will probably say, nah bro, there's no way that San Diego Studio and Sony would ever have a chance of surpassing Take-Two Interactive and 2K. They can't compete. Other companies have tried but failed, so there's no point of them trying to make a comeback by deciding to make a new NBA video game. But listen to me, if there's a company that can compete or surpass 2K and Take-Two Interactive, it's definitely Sony, and their sports titles are developed by San Diego Studio. Check this out. I'm going to go back in time. The day is November 1st, 2005 on a Tuesday, and Sony publishes NBA 06 featuring The Life Volume 1, developed by San Diego Studio. The game released for one of the 6th generation home video game consoles only, and that was for the PlayStation 2 and Sony's handheld console at the time, the PSP. The game went on to sell approximately 530,000 plus copies for the PlayStation 2 and 220,000 plus copies for the PSP, bringing in a total of approximately over 700,000 copies sold on all platforms, which is not bad. This game may not have been the best basketball game on the market or anything near to the best selling NBA video game at the time, because you had NBA Live 06 on the market selling a total of approximately 3.3 million copies across multiple platforms, which includes PlayStation 2, Xbox, PSP, Nintendo GameCube, and the Xbox 360, including NBA 2K6 on the market as well, which sold approximately 1.4 million copies, which was sold on multiple platforms as well, which includes the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and the Xbox 360. These games were just better games graphically and also when it came to mechanics and presentation and stuff like that. But you can't deny that these string of basketball games developed by San Diego Studio and published by Sony wasn't ahead of its time. For example, after NBA was released for the PSP, the one with Ray Allen on the cover back in March 2005, a couple of months later, NBA 06 featuring The Life Volume 1 would release for the PSP on October 4th later that year, and for the PlayStation 2 on November 1st. In this game for the PlayStation 2 version, it featured a scripted story mode like what NBA 2K is doing right now with My Career, and this game came out back in 2005, so it's clear who did it first, and this is the proof. This was done 4 years before NBA 2K started it, because the first My Career mode, which was called My Player at the time, was introduced for the first time in NBA 2K10 back in 2009. NBA 06 The Life's career mode was very detailed, especially for those times. In NBA 06 The Life, you get to create your own player and you are an NBA rookie. Then, like in real life, you go to pre-draft training camp of the team, and after that, the draft starts, and then your character gets picked in the NBA draft, and during the games, you have tasks to complete. Your created player has to complete goals like scoring a certain number of points or holding their star to no steals, and if you fail to complete those goals, the event will start all over again. Who's to say that NBA 2K never got the idea from this to make the Jordan challenge for NBA 2K11, because if you were playing NBA 2K back then, you know that if you fail to complete the challenge for Michael Jordan before the NBA game is over, you have to play that specific challenge all over again. This game is so detailed. Here are some more things that are offered in this game, as you can see on the screen right now. Also, one last thing about NBA 06 The Life. You may or may not know this, but at the time, this was the first and only basketball game on the market to have a shot meter in the game. Then later, a shot meter would be added to NBA 2K, but it would be done in these video game series published by Sony first. Here's proof from a forum from 15 years ago, as you can see on the screen right now, that what I'm saying is not cap. This is how the shot meter was in the game. It was a half circle and it had colors red, yellow, and green. And if you released a shot too early, it would turn red or yellow. And if you released a shot at the right time, the color on the shot meter would turn green, meaning that the release was perfect. These are the other games in the series that released after NBA 06 The Life, and the information on what the games provide. Do you see how this basketball game series was ahead of its time? This basketball series may not have sold that well, or was NBA Live or NBA 2K, but if it wasn't for this NBA game series developed by San Diego Studio and published by Sony, features that were added in NBA Live, even though it doesn't exist at the moment, and features that were added to NBA 2K that NBA 2K uses till this day would never exist. This NBA series deserves respect. Now going into the baseball aspect of things. The reason why I trust and believe in San Diego Studio to develop an NBA game that can rival NBA 2K's or even be better than 2K's is because of their MLB The Show series. Sony and 2K would compete for several years when it came to MLB video games because of what 2K decided to do back in 2005. So because EA Sports exclusive license with the NFL and ESPN by law not allowing any NFL 2K games to be created for the foreseeable future, Take-Two Interactive, who makes a lot of 2K's games that they publish, signed an exclusive third-party licensing contract with MLB, MLBPA, and MLB AM to produce MLB games, which wouldn't allow any third third-party company to make any MLB games, which didn't allow EA Sports to make MLB games anymore, or Acclaim, which is another company that was making MLB video games at the time. Only companies that weren't a third-party company could make MLB video games at the time. Just in case you are wondering what a third-party company is, a third-party company is a video game company that is not owned by a company that makes a game console. For example, Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. Therefore, they are free to make games for several different consoles. Notable third-party companies are Electronic Arts, Activision, Bandai Namco, and Sega. So only San Diego Studio would make MLB video games at the time, hence why it was just San Diego Studio and Sony going up against Take-Two Interactive and 2K, because 2K got rid of most of their competition when it came to making baseball games because of the decision that they made to sign such a deal in response to EA. But MLB 2K was never really a competition for MLB The Show, because MLB The Show was always better and sold more. MLB The Show just always had more depth, better graphics, features, and presentation, pretty much everything. Hence why MLB The Show still exists today, and the newest title just recently released, MLB The Show 24. And MLB 2K was cancelled back in 2013, and 2K hasn't released an MLB title ever since. Even when Take-Two Interactive tried to improve the game, they just kept on missing the mark. MLB 2K just could never be as good as MLB The Show. It always fell short. I don't know if 2K is hiding the sales for MLB 2K, but I just can't find it anywhere on the internet. But I can find MLB The Show's approximate sales year after year. Also, this is what some fans had to say about MLB 2K years ago, as you can see on the screen right now. These are some of the MLB The Show games from the past. MLB The Show 10 and 16. Just read what was in those games and how detailed it was, which you can see on the screen right now. MLB The Show is not like it was years ago, because due to a lack of competition, the game is kind of going through what NBA 2K is going through, and the fans are feeling this as well. But nevertheless, MLB The Show is still one of the best sports games on the market, and you can arguably say it's the best sports game on the market right now. But with all of this being said, these are the reasons and examples of why I think that San Diego Studio should make a new NBA game for Sony to publish, because it shows that both San Diego Studio and Sony are companies that can handle competition and even beat out their competition, and when time is spent on their products, it's not lackluster, and has the ability to be the best on the market, and obviously, like I said before, be able to compete or defeat their competition. But that's it for the video, and like I always say, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I drop a new video, and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram account. It's the same name as my YouTube channel name. And don't forget to comment below. Your opinions matter, and share this video, and I appreciate if you made it to this point in the video, because you are a real one for that. Peace.
I wake up from my naps. Good morning to my dad. Hop on my Xbox, then I go back. I ain't wanna go to school, just thought it would make my mama proud. Then my mind grew, learned doing what I love will make her smile. I like my toes.